Hi all, welcome to my tutorial for Zelle Chapter 11, Exercise 11, and we're doing the one from the book. And the one in the book is a censoring program which has you reading a text file of uncensored values. In your case, they're words of text. And checking for four-letter words. I guess the implication is that they might be nasty four-letter words. And replacing them by four asterisks in the output, and then writing a censored output file. Okay, it says you can ignore punctuation, and you may assume that no words in the file are split across multiple lines. So, how am I going to do a tutorial for this? Well, I'm going to do a similar thing for numbers. I'm going to do them for integers. And you might say, well, how would you censor integers? Well, there are a lot of people who think that the number 666 is an evil number, or certainly unlucky. I don't know all of the import of it, but they would censor it. And what I'm just going to do here is I'm going to read instead of words, I'm going to read ints, okay? And I am going to look for the int 666, and I'm going to replace that with 555 in the case that it's 666. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep the value that I got, whether it's 0 or 1 or minus 25 or whatever it is. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we're going to need a Python program. So let's create a Python file, and let's call it Chapter 11, Exercise 11. Okay, I'm going to do my tutorial version, and I'm going to put up the name of the file, even though this is more of a teaching trick than it is a real-world programmer trick. And let's make that a little bigger so we can read it. Okay, and what am I going to call this? Well, let's describe this as copy a file of integers, replacing instances of a censored value 666. With an acceptable value, and we're going to make it 555. Okay. All right, we're going to need a main, so let's define a main. Okay, we need a colon out there, right? Would you agree? Oh, not there. There. And down here, let's put pass on here so it won't complain about our function being empty. All right. And let's go all the way down, and let's go find a copy of that code where we you know what? I'm just going to have a call to main. Okay? I'm not going to check if this is if we're calling this as a main. This is the kind of file that will only call as a main. It doesn't have multiple uses. It's not like the one that we just did, where it could be a module that's going to hold some shareable code, and the main is going to be a test code or demonstration code. Well, no, this is a real deal. This is a real production file. So I'm not going to check if this is being imported or not, because it has no no use as an importable part. Okay, certainly no appropriate use. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, let's get started. Okay, so let's call it, let's have an in-file name. Okay, and let's prompt for it. Okay, so let's say input. Okay, enter file to sensor. Okay, sounds good. Put an extra space out there like that we'd like to do. Okay, and now that we have that, let's go up and open that file. So in file, that's the name, that's the file itself. So, sorry, it got a little stuck there, guys. In file equals open in file name, and let's do that for read, and we've got an extra character there. We wanted a comma, not an M. Okay, and then let's go prompt for the out file name. Okay, and I always like to clone when I can. So let's copy this, and let's call this out file name. Out file name, and let's say this is going to be called out file, and we want to open out file name, and we want to write that. Okay, and let's say enter file for censored output. Okay, how's that look? Well, that looks good. So we have our input file and our output file. That's pretty good. So how could we read the input file? Well, let's read it a line at a time, and let's use that for option where we can read the lines in a file as though they were in a list. Okay, and that works like this: for line in file. Okay, it's going to give us a line at a time. Okay, so we're going to process one line at a time. Okay, we're going to read the input line. We're going to do the appropriate conversion and censoring, and then we're going to write the output line, and then we're going to go around in the big loop. Okay, so this is the big loop. Okay, this is the outside loop, and I need something to hold int values in. Now, I guess I could probably decide, well, should I try to process these as character strings? I mean, I could, I guess. But I just want to, I want to do it a little different than you're going to be doing yours. Yours are character strings. That's all you have to worry about. Whereas mine are going to be ints. So let's create a new list that's empty. That'll hold my int values as I parse them off of that line that we just got. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to say for string value, because that's how they're going to come in, as strings in line call split. Okay, so that's going to split out all the values, but they're going to be strings and they're not going to be ints yet. Okay, And let's say int value gets assigned, and we're going to call int on the string value. That's all. All right. And we don't have a lot of error checking. If it blows up, it blows up as far as we're concerned, yeah. And now we have to decide what we're going to put into our list of int values, okay? And the usual case, it's going to be the int value itself, but not if it's our one censored value, 666. So let's check for that. If int value equal 666, then we're going to append, oh, I'm sorry, that is int values, by the way. That's the name of my list, not int value. So this individual one is called int value. The list is called int values, okay? So when I go to append to it down here, I'm going to say int values, want a list, append, and what am I going to append? Well, in this case, it's not the in value, because that's the value we're censoring. So we're going to do 555. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to have an else, and we're going to append the real int value. So int values append int value. Int value. All right, that looks good. All right, so we're going to run all the way around and get all of the values in the that are on that line, and we're going to put the appropriate output value into this list in values. And now we have to build a proper output line for our output file. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's do it in kind of a brute force way. Okay. In this case, I'm going to just create another list. It's going to be a list of output string values. So I'm going to call it output string values, and it's going to start empty. All right, and then I'm going to iterate all over these. All over the items that are in int values, and I'm going to turn them back into strings. So I'm going to say for a value in int values, and what do I want to do? Well, I want to append the value converted to a string. Well, let's append. No, sorry. What's the list we need? Well, output string values. Dot append. And then what do we want to do? Well, we want to turn a value into a string. Well, there's a method, stir. Pass it a value, and we're going to get what we want. All right, so we run through those, and we're going to have something that's ready to be built into an output line. Okay, now we need to do a join in order to insert some intervening spaces. And we've done this kind of thing before. So let's say we have a new line. Okay. And let's say that we want to take the space character and call join on it. And what do we want to do? Well, we want to join the elements of output string values with separating spaces, because that's how we got a line. That's how we're going to send it back. And now we're ready to print a line to the output file. So we're going to print new line. And we have to tell it what file this is. And we're going to call it out file. All right. Okay, so this is, there's one outer loop, okay, gets us a line at a time, okay, and then there are two sequential inner loops. There's one where we retrieve and parse and censor all of our values into a list of ints. Then there's another one where we convert them to a list of strings, and then we join them and then we print them. Okay, pretty cool. Now we're done, but maybe not completely done. We have to remember to close the files. So in file needs to be closed. Close. And out file needs to be closed. And let's print a polite little message that says we're done. Okay, print censored, no, sorry about that, censored file written to, and then let's call that out file name. Out file name. All right, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, so we've got a big main, and then we call the main, and we just go right about it. The key structure here is the outer loop. We're using this classic using the for to read each line of a file as though it were any other sequence, just like a list. All right, now we need some test values. So let's create some test data. Okay, let's see what that's going to look like. So new file. So let's call this uncensored input, right? Dot text. All right, let's make these a little big. So let's see. We need some 666s and some other values. So let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 666. Let's have a blank line. 666 all by itself. 5, 6, 7. Let's have a 66 so we can tell that we're not getting caught on those. Okay. Let's have two 666s in a row, and a 666, and let's put a 1 at the end, and let's say we're done. All right. All right. So I hit a Command S to make sure that I was done here, and I'm going to put it like that. Oh, you know, whenever I do that, it gives me a line feed at the end. How about that? I get a line 10, but line 10 I guess is empty. That's all right. Okay, so that's what I want. I test a blank line. I've got a number of 666s. I've got a 66 to make sure I don't trip it up. Make sure I'm not going to trip up on that. All right, so let's give it a run. So we're going to go to our code, and we're going to say when we want to run it. Okay, and here we go down here. Let's give it uncensored input dot text, and let's put it into censored output dot text, and let's give it a run. It says censored file written to censored output dot text. Well, it ran without a hitch. That's always exciting your first time out. Let's open censored output dot text and see what it looks like. And again, let's look at the input. So we've got on line 2, we've got 1. On line 4, we've got 1. And on line 9, we've got 2. Okay, 2, 4, and then 2 on 9. Okay, so on line 2, 555, on line 4, 555, and then on line 9, 2 of them, and we didn't get caught by 66. By golly, that worked, right? And do we have pretty good test data here? Yeah, I think we do. Okay, we're catching the values we're supposed to catch. We're missing all the other values. We've got other reasonably close values that are not accidentally being counted as a 666. So I think we're okay. So I think we're done. So let's go back here. Your job is going to be to do a similar job, but you're going to be looking for, instead of integers, you're going to be looking at words. So you're not going to have to do so much. You're not going to have to convert these string values into int values, okay? And you're going to be looking at the length of the string. And that should be pretty straightforward. Okay? Cool. Well, bye for now. Good luck on that one.